Hey folks, Jackdaw here. Last discussion-based video, I explored what I would like to see for the next villain of Dragon Age 4. And now it is your turn. So today I have at least 30 of your unique, fun and interesting ideas on the next villain of Dragon Age. As per usual, if you are not featured in this video, don't worry, there will be plenty more opportunities in future wishlist videos. Stay tuned to the end of this video to find out what we'll be talking about next time. With that said, let's plunge into this community wish list. We'll start with what you folks want to see for Solas as the main threat in the next game. Windigo Games said, "It's simple, but I want Solas to retain his personality instead of just becoming the kind of villain who goes, I'm evil, so I'm gonna do evil things, ha 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 ha." Marshall M009, obviously our good old Landsmate Marshall, said, "I feel like beating Solas is only possible in a philosophical debate. Like imagine you go to fight him, but if you chose the right dialogue and you have made the right choices, you can just debate him and talk him down. It seems in character for him in my opinion." Mike L from my Discord said, "In Solas's case, I just want him to fulfill his massive potential, as he can become one of the best video game antagonists out there. In regards to every other threat, I just want them to be the type of villains you love to hate." Chantel said, "I think Solas and the new hero will have to work together to stop the Evanurus, in that the Evanurus will completely destroy the world if Solas doesn't give up his, quote, new device that will help him with his plan. In other words, he'll have to voluntarily give up his idea for the world so that there is a world at all. Also, for a villain, it would be cool to have giant kaiju-like fight scenes." Erin S said, "A lot of people on Tumblr have pointed out that Solas will probably not be our main villain. Rather, Solas will at some point succeed and we'd have to team up to defeat the Evanurus. I absolutely think that this will be the case, and Solas will more resemble Loghain as a villain than say Meredith or Corypheus, where he has the ability to join us depending on the Inquisitor's choice to redeem him or not. There are also a bunch of small villains I'd die to see, like Magister Zara at the end of Wigmaker Job is heavily implied to be Lucanus's main threat should he become a companion. Some Antam villains, since the Qunari are waging all-out war. Genitivi dies in the end, and 8 Little Talons hinted at this if I recall correctly, as well as enemies personal to our protagonist. If BioWare goes with faction-based origins, like how each warden had a unique villain which upped their stake in main conflict." Ella Larson said, "Actually, I completely disagree that Solas shouldn't be the main villain. All the characteristics you mentioned wanting to see in the next big bad, Solas has, and that's what makes him such a good candidate. And seeing how BioWare so often pull the quote villain switch, it would perhaps be good for them to branch out and not do that. This would also, I hope, allow for more focus and greater complexity within the relationship between the DF4 hero and Solas. What personal stakes does the hero have in this fight? Does the Inquisitor try to interfere in Solas' defeat? At BioWare, can we please have a dual protagonist? Does the DF4 hero agree with what Solas is trying to do? Solas also isn't the type to set out on a personal vendetta against anyone, making defeating him much more difficult because you'd have to find him first. Also, love the Dreams idea, and I really want to see Solas in his Dreadwolf form / dragon form, because yes, regardless, having the option to redeem or kill him or both is a given. Other smaller villains are fine, but I'd rather there be a few interesting and complex villains than a bunch of mwahahaha, I am so evil people who are actually inconsequential, i.e. Sarah's first mission, in which that was kind of the point. Or, as a ridiculous alternative, the main antagonist of the entire franchise is neither Solas nor Mafal nor one of the archdemons, but the king of the Nugs. I have no idea what that would look like, but I'd totally be down for that. I'm not even going to try and attempt to pronounce the surname here, so we'll just say Lenny Null. So Lenny Null said, "Solas already has the power to tear down the veil at the start of the game, possibly even Trespasser. His quest won't be about that, but rather his plans to deal with the Evanurus. The murals have greatly hinted at the last 2 old gods, Razikil and Lusican. To fight gods, you need gods, and who would be better than these lovely dragons? However, the only possible way as of yet to wake them is by tainting them with the blight. So, in order to do so, Solas himself would need to become blighted, backed up by the Game Awards trailer mural where the Dreadwolf has red teeth, suggesting that he ingested red lyrium. This is where the red lyrium idol would come to play, as in order to not just set 2 archdemons free, Solas would need to command them, using a powerful artifact such as the idol. Why do I think that? Because this way, Solas would not only gain the aid of 2 old gods, but also an army of Darkspawn, possibly all mind-controlled by him. him. The taint would also add the certain point of no return for him, where even if he turns to the light again, there would be no hope for him, possibly leading to a sacrifice of some sorts. Matt Norgal said, considering what Solas hints at regarding the Blight, I think it would be interesting if he found a way to weaponize it into a threat that's unlike anything the Grey Wardens have ever faced. Also, I would like to see Solas' relationship with spirits come to the fore more in the next game, like if Solas organized spirits to help him in addition to the elves and spirits becoming hostile to mages in a way that hasn't been seen in centuries. Solas could turn the entire world on its head without even removing the veil, and I think that would be fascinating to see. Tucker Monticelli said, I would like the first third to be about the Dread Wolf as the main villain, but upon succeeding and freeing the old gods, be cast down by them and taken aback by their unwillingness to follow his goals. What if Solas became apologetic for this action, requiring you to help fix his mistake? I also really want to head into the Black City and deal with some really Lovecraftian level corrupted old gods. So moving on to broader Elven threats, I did get a lot of comments just about elves in particular, so let's dabble on those. Dawid Zigotta said, maybe based on our decisions, we can redeem one of the minor villains and maybe make them our companions, maybe even a romanceable one. Besides that, I would like to see some non-humanoid side bosses, i.e. blighted Sylvan in corrupted parts of the Alfan Forest, or one of Gilliland's creations. Lavender Bubbles said, I'm thinking that some of the Evanurus will be the big bad, and it's actually a huge conflict between Mafal and whoever tried to kill her. Might be that Mafal be a villain too, since she seems to move in ways that aren't for the benefit of Phaedus and the protagonist. Really hype. Clever Anonym said, I'm expecting something of a multi-villain theme in Dragon Age 4. One big bad leader from the Qun and one big bad Magister from Tevinter. In good old BioWare style, you'll be able to stop one, but won't be able to stop the other from doing something horrible. Scott Jones said, okay, so here is my idea on the next threat in DF4. Kinda brought this up when I was on Good Morning Phaedus, but I really love the idea that it's 3/4 through the game and the veil goes down and everyone is expecting to see the Evanurus come pouring through and wrecking house. But nothing happens, and upon further investigation, you find out that all the Evanurus are dead, and they actually have all been dead for a long time, and we get hints of what does bump in the night that killed all of them. I like this idea because it supplants expectations and allows the DA franchise to move forward with a new big bad threat. Or it's just the lizard people making their triumphant return. Talara Dunwin said, I want at least a quest with the creatures from Tevinter Nights' The Horror of Hormak. I guess it would also be a similar horrendous, maybe even more, than Origins' Brood Mother plot. Diana Norgrad said, I would like for Flemmerfall to be the actual big boss at the end of the game, using Solas to release those who betrayed her to get her ultimate revenge. She's been plotting for thousands of years, right? It would be so epic if she was behind it all. Like she says in Inquisition, I nudge history when it's required. Other times, a shove is needed. Drakon said, in terms of villains, I would like to see the Formless Ones, the last of the 4 demons known as the Forbidden Ones. There was one in each game so far, Gax Kang in Origins, Zenobek in DA2, and Imshel in Inquisition, but they have the chance to do something truly fascinating with the Formless Ones, and I really want it to be the demon featured in the Tevinter Nights story, The Streets of Imrathas, where a group of Venatori planned on releasing it. The demon is said to be so powerful that only a god could command it, and as of now, it is sealed beneath Minrathas. This could be a very interesting and dark questline, taking on an almost Lovecraftian tone. From the way it's described in the book, the demon could be a very big influence on all Magisters living in Tevinter's capital, possibly stirring their darker emotions, thereby contributing on the Magisterium's overall dark reputation. Also, this would mean we can see Neve Gaius again, and I loved her character in Tevinter Nights. Say said, I subscribe to the 2 villain theory. It would be really cool if the first act we faced Solas, only for another villain to rise in the second act, and they are so powerful that Solas himself must help us defeat them. This new villain would be a mirror reflection of Solas, someone who wants to destroy the world to remake it to their own liking, prompting him to realize the error of his ways. After defeating this big bad, Solas decides to no longer go forward with his plan, but it has already been set in motion and can't be stopped. The third act would focus on Solas and us working together to try to stop whatever he did, and at the end, it would require him to sacrifice himself. I don't know, I just think it would be a neat conclusion to his narrative arc. Changing the tide, we've talked about the Elven threats, let's talk about other threats that lurk in Phaedus that you all want to see. Cara Watkins said, I'd love to see a real heavy hitter in the first and second acts, someone our protagonist will need to undermine and undercut because the threat is actually Solas. Like maybe a disillusioned Black Divine, someone really big that's going to realise that their enemy wasn't our protagonist but the Dread Wolf, and that they've completely failed in doing the right thing. I'd love to see their face when/if Solas drops the veil at the end of the game and the primary adversary understands just how grave their mistakes were. Eric Parker said, the Nug King leads an exalted march on the surface to reclaim their land. No nation or faction stands a chance. Nagram said, because DF4 will have multiple conflicts, I'm expecting minor villains for each of them throughout the game. Kunari for the invasion on Antiva and Tevinter, maybe some tyrant warden for the civil war they are having in Weishaupt, an intelligent darkspawn corrupting Mortalatasi in Navarra, and such. But I believe Solas needs to be the overarching villain of the story, with multiple important agents that will act against us in his name, and eventually he will personally step in to stop us. He does want to destroy the world, and the new protagonist doesn't have the potential relation with him that the Inquisitor could. Besides, we only know part of who he is. Solas was careful to what he said and how he acted since the beginning of Inquisition. We don't know the cruel and furious part of his personality, the one that swore vengeance to the Evaners and waged war against them in the past. Sonofart said, I would like to see more of the Darkspawn. We have barely seen them since Origins, and would love to see them be the big bad they were originally written as. Materla said, oh, I'm all for more side villains that you can either destroy or befriend for a small redemption arc, especially if we get to see more talking Darkspawn. Not for the kisses though, well, maybe. Also, I want the main villain to greatly undermine our morality, which would be perfect for the closer hero/villain dynamic, if they were to interact more often. I want to be questioning my own motives and beliefs. Make me doubt myself. Make me choose between two evils and regret it. Make me feel my mistakes. Maybe the cold calculus of war that we saw in Mass Effect 3. You sacrifice this, but you save this. That could be pretty insane and heartbreaking, and could fit perfectly for all the big-sized conflicts that seem to be a part of DF4. But that would also mean that our character would have to be somewhat important to be making big decisions and such. I would maybe prefer someone a little bit smaller. Also, and I feel bad for just saying this, I want the villain to kill someone from our team or someone really close to us. Fictional Cricket said, I really want to see more of the Executors. They seem like they could be very helpful allies against Solas, especially since he seemed worried enough about what they might know to prevent him from sharing the info with the main people in Phaedus who are trying to stop him. On the other hand, they seem like they could also be hard to track down and or have questionable practices, ethics and goals. So there may be a choice when you have to decide if you want their help or want to help Solas take them down. Dragon Effect said, anything to do with a Titan. The Descent made Titan lore absolutely irresistible to me, and I need that explored further, especially their connection to individuals like Valta, Leliana, and Dagna. Solas is a sensational character, literally wants to tear open the veil, betrayed the Inquisition, and yet I still can't fully commit to hating him, irrespective of whether I romanced or not. He was so well written and a perfect shade of grey. The power he displayed versus the Kunari in Trespasser means I doubt we could beat him conventionally, and his arc would probably resolve in an elusive man type of way. Whatever happens, I've complete faith Bioware writes fantastic villains just like Solas, such as Saren, the Elusive Man, Hau, Logain, even Corypheus to an extent. I'm sure they'll nail 4, unless we get some Kailang bullshit, but they get it right more often than they get it wrong. Let's shift gears and look at villain plotlines that surround our next main hero. Baron Sitzkrieg said, much like for the new protagonist, for the antagonist, I would very much love one thing. Emotional depth. Make me feel. Yaniva Sion said, I loved the twist of Solas, your companion, who turned into this elven god and multi-dimensional villain figure. More unexpected twists like this would be lovely. For example, there is a seemingly inconspicuous person during the main story that is in truth really powerful but secretly working for Solas and will turn against you at some point. But I would also love to see an option that this can be prevented if you followed a certain path of decisions and then have the opportunity to stop this person, or even change their mind so that they will rather betray Solas and fight for the new hero. Pink Jules said, what I really want to see is our character literally getting the shit knocked out of them. They get beaten down even after everything we've done so far. Hell, kidnap the main character and make us play through the level all alone to escape wherever we're being held. I feel like people who write villains are sometimes scared to not go over the top or even touch the main character, but there's just so much opportunity there to make the person playing the game hooked. There would be an emotional reason for us to continue playing, to see the villain who did all of this to us and our friends, to pay what they've done. That's why Logain and Meredith, even Orsino, are great villains. They threaten us and hurt us in some ways, whether it be emotionally or physically. Laura Kane said, I would like more villains that must be defeated through careful persuasion and gathering intel rather than a physical fight. Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts was my favourite quest in DA. I would like to see more quests like this alongside classic boss fight quests in DA4. Takes Two to Know Games said, I personally would like to have our previous heroes factor into convincing Solas to stop his insane crusade, such as if your Inquisitor or Hero Ferelden or new hero are an elf, then it's therefore easier to convince him. Bernard Bunyan said, I would like the dwarves of Kalsharok to know what the ancient elves did and attack Solas' followers in revenge. It would be cool if Binfist Kalsharok secretly opened some Alluvians and steered hordes of Darkspawn into the Dreadwolves' many secret bases. Anne Moore said, I want a smart, powerful antagonist that makes me feel like I am really outclassed. Beat my character down, hit them where it hurts, more than once. If DAI has a falling, it is that Corypheus basically fades into the background, and the Inquisition never loses a major battle after Haven. Corypheus never does another counter-attack. Marianne said, just a silly dumb idea for a villain or a second in command to the villain, a blighted and or possessed hero of Ferelden. Just something to rip our hearts out even more. And as per usual, we're going to end on some rapid fire community wishes. King Peter said, I want a truly evil villain. Chloe's Dragon said, I can see whatever Solas unleashes being the main enemy. Saint said, a deep stalker that follows you around like the adoring fan. Madeline Sneed said, I would love to see a blighted titan. What a huge, terrifying enemy it could be. Dariel said, I just want complex villains who aren't evil just for the sake of being evil. Ogren said, heroes are overrated. I want to be a villain and make all the evil choices and drink and dance afterwards in drunken bliss. And finally, Stoner Demetrius said, Sandals return as a big bad. And folks, that'll do it, at least for 2021's next villain wishlist. I think the next discussion-based topic I'll do will be in the new year. So I'd say have a think about what you'd like to see for romances and relationship aspects in the next Dragon Age. Hoping to do mine by January, and then I'll release yours maybe even on Valentine's Day. So do start thinking and writing up every single romantic idea you have for the next Dragon Age down below in the comments to this video, and of course my future discussion video when that releases. Anyhow, thank you all so much for your amazing, unique ideas. As per usual, you're already in the right place for all of your Dragon Age needs. But until the next one, I have been Jackdaw, and I should go. Whoa, 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 whoa.